It's 0300 hours on June 6, 1944. Major Werner Pluskat sits alone in his concrete bunker, high above the cliffs of Omaha Beach. The air is thick with damp fog, and the sea stretches endlessly before him. He commands one of the coastal artillery batteries of the German 352nd Infantry Division. For months, he has stared at the horizon, night after night, waiting for a signal that never comes. Tonight, however, something feels different. His orders are clear. If the Allies land, his guns must stop them. If they break through, Paris lies open. The responsibility presses down on him like the weight of the sea itself. Around 0100 hours, the phone rings. His regimental commander, voice clipped and urgent, asks for an update. Pluskat scans the dark horizon. Nothing but waves and fog. He hangs up and returns to his scope, eyes straining to detect even the faintest movement. Around him, his men stand ready. 155mm guns gleam dimly in the moonlight. Ammunition is stacked in careful rows. Naval mines line the beach below. Steel hedgehogs jut from the sand like jagged teeth, and obstacles meant to shred landing craft bristle ominously from the water's edge. Everything is prepared, but the waiting gnaws at him, an unrelenting tension in the pit of his stomach. At 0200 hours, a faint mechanical growl reaches his ears, a sound unlike anything he's heard before. Aircraft engines, hundreds of them, far out on the horizon. The low growl swells into a roar that rattles the bunker walls. Pluskat rushes to the observation slit. In the distance, streaks of light erupt across the sky. Parachutes blossom like white flowers against the darkness. Thousands of troops are descending behind their lines, cutting roads, seizing bridges, and disrupting communications. The invasion has already begun. The beach, the target of his artillery, is no longer the only concern. "Fire! Fire!" he shouts, though it is not yet clear who is calling the shots. His crews scramble, manning the guns, adjusting sights, bracing themselves. The tension is electric, every sound amplified by the concrete walls around him. His heart pounds as he scans the dark horizon, trying to anticipate the storm that is coming. By 0530 hours, dawn begins to break. A pale gray light spreads across the sea, and Major Pluskat lifts the scope once more. His stomach tightens. The horizon is no longer empty. Ships, thousands of them. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, transport vessels. The fleet stretches as far as the eye can see, lined up in neat rows, dark silhouettes against the morning light. The scale is unimaginable. His hands tremble as he reaches for the phone. The world explodes before he can make the call. Salvos from Allied naval guns tear across the cliffs, arriving with earth-shattering force. The bunker shakes. Dust and concrete fragments fill the air. Walls quiver under the impact. "Fire! Fire!" Pluskat screams again, rallying his crews. The 155mm artillery responds immediately. Shells arc high into the sky, striking at the distant ships. But for every shell fired, dozens return. The German positions erupt in fountains of steel, dirt, and shattered concrete. Men shout, duck, reload, and fire again. Each moment is a fight against the overwhelming power of the invading force. Landing craft begin to churn forward, hundreds of them, heading straight for Omaha Beach. The defenders open fire as soon as they come within range. One craft is obliterated in a fiery explosion. Yet for every one destroyed, 10 more press forward. Mines detonate. Steel obstacles grind against the hulls. Ramps drop. Soldiers wade into chest-deep water, the distinctive ripping staccato of MG-42 machine guns cutting through the chaos. Tanks push forward, some bogged down, others inching relentlessly across the shingle. Engineers sprint through the surf, trying to clear lanes through obstacles with satchel charges. Shells from Pluskat's guns smash into the beach, sending sand, wood, and debris skyward. The first wave of chaos descends, and yet the Americans keep coming. By 0730, the firing has been relentless. Pluskat counts remaining shells. Only 2 guns remain operational, fewer than 40 rounds each. He calls the regimental command. The answer is the same: hold at all costs. The Allies adjust their artillery. Spotters in the air and on the beach feed coordinates back to the naval guns. Each shell lands closer, more precise, more terrifying. The bunker shakes violently. A new crack opens in the wall. Smoke drifts inside. The scope fractures. Pluskat hits the floor, coughing, his ears ringing. Concrete begins to crumble around him. He looks up and sees the inevitable. The defenders are running out of options. By 0800 hours, small groups of American soldiers begin to advance through the draws, using grenades and satchel charges to clear strong points. German defenders fall back into ever smaller sections of the line. Radio silence descends, broken only by the relentless thunder of artillery. The remaining positions are under constant assault. Messengers rush in with urgent instructions: no withdrawal. Roads are cut, escape routes blocked. His men can only hold what little ground remains, fighting for every meter of sand and bluff. The chaos on the beach is total. Vehicles burn, soldiers are trapped in the surf. Waves of reinforcements continue to pour onto the beach. The defenders' courage is fierce, but the tide of the invasion is unrelenting. By 0845 hours, the last German positions in Pluskat's sector fall silent. Concrete bunkers and artillery emplacements lie in ruins. Ammunition is gone. The guns that roared against the invasion are now dark, silent monuments to a failed defense. Major Werner Pluskat presses against the cracked walls of his bunker, staring down at the shoreline below. The beach, once a defensive stronghold, is now alive with movement. Soldiers, tanks, and vehicles pushing inland, relentless and unstoppable. Below, medics move urgently through the chaos, tending to both German and American casualties. Bodies lie scattered across the sand, some still clinging to life, others motionless. Smoke rises from burning vehicles, mingling with the acrid scent of gunpowder and cordite. The cries of the wounded, the shouts of officers, and the distant rumble of artillery create a chaotic symphony of war. The 352nd Infantry Division has suffered catastrophic losses. Over 1,200 men are killed, wounded, or captured in the first 12 hours. Strong points have been destroyed and obstacles cleared. The tide of American troops pours forward, overwhelming the remaining defensive positions. The once formidable Atlantic Wall has been breached, its purpose undone. Pluskat surveys the devastation. Wrecked landing craft litter the surf. Burning vehicles block the shore, and sand is churned into clouds by explosions and artillery fire. Tracer lines streak the sky as residual MG-42 fire echoes across the cliffs. Tanks crawl inland, some stuck in the shingle, others moving steadily forward. Engineers advance shoulder to shoulder with infantry, clearing obstacles with satchel charges, pressing forward with relentless efficiency. He thinks of his men, soldiers who stood with him in the bunker, who fired every last round, who braved the inferno of naval fire and crashing landing craft. Many lie dead or wounded. Their courage and discipline were extraordinary. Yet against the scale and coordination of the invasion, their resistance could only delay the inevitable. The psychological weight of the day is immense. The vision of the dawn horizon, once empty and silent, now filled with thousands of ships, will remain with Pluskat forever. In those first hours, as artillery roared and landing craft surged forward, he realized the magnitude of the Allied operation. Germany's hold on Normandy was slipping, and the tide of war was irrevocably turning. Even as the Americans press inland, pockets of German defenders attempt to regroup, but without heavy artillery or sufficient ammunition, they are quickly overrun. The chaos is total. Smoke, dust, fire, and the cries of the wounded create a sensory overload. By mid-morning, the beach and approaches are firmly in Allied hands. The first foothold in Normandy has been established, allowing troops to advance inland and secure critical positions. Yet, the human cost is staggering, and the scale of destruction is unimaginable. Major Pluskat survives, but the images are etched forever into his mind. The ships stretching to the horizon at dawn, the relentless waves of soldiers, the smoke rising from the beach. Despite the bravery of his men, the invasion succeeded. The Atlantic Wall had failed. The battle at Omaha Beach would go down in history as one of the fiercest and most brutal of D-Day, a testament to courage, chaos, and the overwhelming scale of war. The defenders' heroism is undeniable, yet the lesson is stark. Against overwhelming force, discipline and bravery alone are not enough. Pluskat would recount these events for the rest of his life, providing one of the most vivid German perspectives of the invasion, emphasizing the horror, the courage, and the irrevocable shift in the war that morning brought.